All right, Friday forecast time, and the Troy Trojans coming to town. Obviously, the big story, number one, is Adrian Martinez and his health. He obviously left the game against Colorado with a twisted knee. This is going to be a big-time subject that you got to monitor.
Yeah, this will be something everybody will be watching closely here going into game day. But what we do know is no ligament damage on that knee, and that is the biggest piece of information Scott Frost revealed on Monday at their weekly press conference. I think initially everybody thought, the worst. I mean, ACL, MCL with some sort of partial tear, ligament tear, and, if that were the case, you're talking multiple weeks, if not a season. And the fact that they've essentially dodged that is about as big of a break as Nebraska could have gotten, because everybody knows how bad this quarterback situation is as far as the numbers they have to work with. And it looks like Martinez, if he doesn't play Saturday, I would be pretty surprised if we wouldn't see him at Michigan.
Yeah, Scott Frost confirming on Monday that there was no major ligament damage to Adrian Martinez. Now, if Andrew Bunch has to play, he did show that he is capable of leading this offense. He did that in the latter moments against Colorado.
Yeah, just has kind of that Joe Gans number 2 quarterback quality when he's a slippery guy in the pocket, hard to get your hands on, just, a gunslinger in some ways. And, he made the throws to help Nebraska still have a chance to win that game. He made the throw to J.D. Spielman that should have won the game, and J.D. Spielman bobbled it out of bounds there in the fourth quarter. So there was a lot to like, and if, let's just say Martinez does go and play, hopefully you get a chance to play Bunch here. And Troy, as we know, is not a team you can just look past, so that could be easier said than done.
Let's talk about the black shirts. There's 7 of them handed out on Monday. That's a pretty big deal here. 7 black shirts.
Yeah, they went pretty conservative with the early shirts. 2 on the D-line, 4 at linebacker, and just 1 in the secondary. The linebackers, not a surprise. All 4 of those guys played a majority of the snaps there. You saw a few backups get in, but Luke Gifford, Mohamed Berry, Tyron Ferguson, and Dedrick Young all played outstanding. I thought maybe we'd see another defensive lineman, whether a Ben Stilley or a Khalil Davis, because all those guys played well. But Freedom Akamaladun, the only black shirt awarded. And then in the secondary, a group that had a hard time with Colorado's receivers. DiCaprio Boodle was the only guy, and I tend to agree with that. I still think there's a lot left out there that group needs to improve on.
Freedom got one. Don't forget about Mick, right? Mick Stoltenberg.
Mick Stoltenberg, the other defensive lineman.
Let's talk about the Troy Trojans. They come in, and everybody points to that victory last year against LSU. It's a different team, but they're still capable. They're fast and almost a mirror image of Nebraska on offense.
And they're almost a mirror image of kind of Scott Frost's team at UCF. They're a team that at the Group of 5 level that wins a lot of games. Neil Brown's going to be a hot coaching commodity. A lot of people were surprised he didn't get a job last year. He won 11 games. He's kind of somebody that Ole Miss could have hired. They chose to keep the guy in-house there. So there's a lot, when you look at him as a coach, he's definitely going to be in a Power 5 job, I would say, in the next few years. And they won at LSU, as you mentioned. Still have to get a new quarterback, though. Their quarterback from a year ago is gone. The running back, that was their main guy, gone. So there's a lot that they lost from that 11-win team. But there's a lot of good players on Troy, and they are traditionally one of the better Group of 5 programs out there for sure. I would say a top 10 level Group of 5 team year in and year out.
But I think the prevailing wisdom is that if Nebraska takes care of Nebraska, cleans up their mistakes, they're going to be a tough team to beat on Saturday.
Yeah, it's the physicality. If Nebraska can establish that physicality at the line of scrimmage like we saw, shut down the run, force Troy into passing situations, I just don't see them having the quarterback play that we saw with Steven Montez last week. I don't see them having quite the receiver-type talent Colorado had. So if the defense can play like they did last week and then just prove in a few small areas and then obviously eliminate those turnovers on offense, Nebraska should be in good shape.
And a morning start, not any longer is it a dirty phrase to ask the kids about playing in the morning, because they're up in the mornings now.
Yeah, the 11 a.m. start, not a popular deal for the fans.
Right.
And we learned the Michigan game is going to be a noon Eastern, 11 a.m. start the next week. So back-to-back early starts here. Get your coffee on, and you can make that wedding now later in the day, or make church at 5 o'clock still. So a lot of positives to the 11 a.m. start, and Nebraska practicing in the mornings. Scott Frost made the joke, hey, I got to go home and see my son. So your old guy, Barry Alvarez, he was always a fan of those 11 a.m. games.
Yep, it's going to be brunch with the Huskers on Saturday when the Troy Trojans come to town. It's going to be televised on the Big Ten Network.